cool relative to the highlight on his hand. It's this area here in shadow. This is in shadow. It's cooler than a lot of this, which is also in shadow. But this has got warmth to it. This has got, to me, it's got a bluish, purplish tinge. But my point is, if I matched the temperature, and I'm thinking on the color wheel, and let's say instead of it being blue, it was a little green, it would work. If I made the back of his hand a little bit green, it would be better than me missing the temperature, because that's what turns this form. And a lot of times for me, it's a little quick glance. What I need to mix this right here. What is it going to be? I take a little quick glance, and when I don't study it, eyes open, I just take a little peek, and it's obvious to me that that's cool. And I see it better at a quick glance than I do as if I'm studying it. That's got, if this is right, if this is right, which I'm going to say, let's see here, if I've got all this drawn right, and I did a lot of this one, right, you see that? You see the line? I'm pretending these lines aren't here. That eye is lined up just inside that buckle. This may come out just a little. This I think I've got too big. Looks a little funky. Looks a little funky. What are we doing? 35 minutes. Wow, you guys have been talking. It's 10 to 1. Jeez. All right. I don't even remember what I was talking about. You guys, I'm boring you. That's got to be too light. Got to be too light. Got to mix it again. Just the way it rolls, the way I roll. Mix it again. Probably too cool. A little too cool. As I was bragging that I nail stuff pretty quick. Not too bad. And when that dries, it'll be obvious that it's not right. But I'm going to put some interest in some of this background anyway when it dries. But that, I want that poking out from there. What was I talking about? Who cares? I just need to paint, right? Shut up, John. Yeah, I will be definitely painting over this again. As you see, those colors, both burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, are transparent. And when I use them, and I need them that dark, I can't mix white, because white will make them opaque, but it obviously is going to lighten it. While we've got this, so this is going to be interesting, because painting a sphere, as you can imagine, if you've never done it before, is tough. It's tough. And the key, and then, I know it's one of the things that they teach. We see it in books all the time. I've never done one necessarily. If you remember, I did the soccer ball. Maybe it's a decent example. So that soccer ball has highlight. It's got a dark right on this rim is its darkest. Highlight, darkest. The rest of this is catching light. So this is lighter than that. And that's obvious what you see on that soccer ball, right? Also, I'll just show you. Can you see? Is it not? It's the Pac-Man. That's the Pac-Man. You see the Pac-Man? Don't tell anybody. If anybody ever looks for the Pac-Man, I hide one in all my paintings, if you didn't know that. This is very, very transparent, which, you know, probably works okay. Probably's okay. The top of this gets a look, right, there's the light's shining this way. So the light's rolling over, and then the shadow happens here. I probably could do nothing more than scumble this very faint grayish color. And that would work. We're not going to do that, but I mean, I think if I wanted to be lazy, it would happen. I think so. And this, again, there's so many different ways to paint. I'm doing it in a acrylic, but even within acrylics, I would say there's a lot of acrylic artists, and there's maybe some that watch this that would paint this completely different. You know, the end result may look different, but maybe not, but the process. Just get by with so much with acrylics. I mean, even that at least starts, anybody would guess what that is. You wouldn't leave it like that. But let's see, 40 minutes. That shoulder got to come down. That's unfortunate. Not that it's critical, but you see what I'm saying, that this goes... Yeah, I think this, I need to remix this because I'm going to go over this again, this right here. I need to put that little bit where his shoulder drops a little. That just makes more sense because his arm's down here. That don't make no sense. Dirty brush. No need to clean. No need to clean. Now that's going to have some more light in it than that, but I'll probably need to do that after the fact. Transparent. Yes, it is. Until he's moving, lifting that the way that it's almost doesn't look possible. Don't look possible. And this is really wet. This is much wetter. And there's a lot of acrylic artists that would paint more like that, I think. More in washes. Not maybe necessarily like, why didn't I bring that blue up there? Does that work? Maybe that rock comes over more. If golly, I've got that down, right? Get that rock misshapen. This is too low, I think. even if that came out. Does that, I guess that kind of makes sense right there. So yeah, that for some reason I came down there, that comes up. I was saying watercolor something, I don't know. I'm sure it was so important. Brilliant. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, so good. Again, a lot of this stuff, and there's no secret to it. It's you just put the strokes down. I know it sounds ridiculous, like, what are you talking about? You try to mix the paint and you put it down. And to me, it doesn't really matter how you put it down. It's just the fact that you do. However you want, whatever means by which you normally would do that. Now this highlight is blue, right? Right. Is it that blue? Close, right? At least in part of that. Now it's really dark underneath there, and then it comes out of there. So we're going to have to eventually darken this up. Pushing it there. It's the beauty of acrylics. I'll just paint over it if I don't like it. Just paint over it. Let's add a little white. I'm out of white actually, which is good because I'm out of time. Again, I say this over and over, but the thing I love about acrylics is you don't just have one stab at this stuff, which is good because I'd be in trouble. The way I paint, it's so relieving. I can enjoy it because I know that if I've got something wrong, and I know I got stuff wrong, hopefully I recognize what I got wrong and I don't just not ever find them. But you have another go at it. You fix those problems. Let's oh, you were out of focus. I'm sorry. Yeah, I see it. Nothing fancy. Just did a little britches work down there. Little britches work. It's probably a little big. This may come down. I don't know. It's in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. No, again, nobody's gonna look at this to see if I got every little piece right. The main thing is I get Andrew right. And there's this motion. Oh, whoa, not that motion, but this motion of him lifting that over his shoulder is about half right. 47 minutes in, time to stop. Till next time. A little bit of a late start. Had a meeting, 10 o'clock meeting ran over. It's now about 10 after 12. I have a 1 o'clock and a 2 o'clock, so I just have a smidge of time to work on some of this. So let's go to this brush. This is a 4, but it's much bigger. I think this is a 4, and this one is a 4 from 2 different manufacturers. So we'll see. This one's a little rough. Been scumbling with that one. So We'll see how that pans out. I just kind of frantically ran up here to get a little bit of painting in, and I haven't cleaned my palette. I don't have any white. I'm all disheveled. Probably not the best environment to paint and be creative and whatever. Oh well. Let's see. We'll make it work. Still block it in, so I can't mess this up too bad. Let's restate the dark. That is dark. Lighter here. It's lighter there, and you can kind of create a little of that by just not painting that in, right? That's okay. This is darker. Little spot there. Let's see. Get that up. I may have to paint over that. Brush too big. We always know that. And at this point, that's okay. Pretty close. Really dark, right? Really dark. Really dark up in there. We'll probably have to hit that a few times. Look at this. Alrighty. A little red, a little burnt sienna, a little yellow. Let's see here. So it just sounds weird, just like this ball. Highlight, reflected light, cooler, and just a smidge darker. Cooler, smidge darker. This is probably lighter than what I'm putting it down as. This is just how I do it. I'm not saying it makes sense to anyone other than me. Darker here. Darker. So there's this. Big brush. Actually, on that side of the nose, a little spot. Roughly the same there, right? Some ugly stuff in there. Let's remix that again, because I never Never mix enough, which is okay. It's all right. Big thumb. Way too big. It's warm under here. We already talked about that. Too big, too big. Too big. That's darker. And I always, kidding when I say too big, too big. You want the brush, or I want the brush big. Because I want the biggest, boldest shapes I can get. Especially at this stage, if I want to get pickier, then I can go to a little brush later. But right now, I just want to make sure I get these shapes right. And it's easier for me I want you to notice what I'm going to do here. And normally I would wait to do this, but sometimes I need to see how this stuff's going to look when I get it done. A tad lighter and cooler. A tad lighter and cooler, which is going to help turn that. Same here, but it's even lighter. See on that bicep? You see that? I see that. Cool spot there, a little cool spot there. It's happening. So you see it happens kind of quick. Kind of quick. I'm going to say somewhere in the middle. See from back here, stuff's happening. I might have it a little dark, but I'll let that dry now. I'll let that dry. A little bit more muscle to that, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now here's how we're going to do this. We're going to see how this does. I picked up this, which was this blue, right? And I mixed these two to get something that might be, we're going to see, it may be too dark, but it's cooler. It's definitely cooler. We'll go back over that with some lighter warm. Lighter warm. One thing I don't say, I don't think enough, even though I say a lot of stuff too much, is you can't see where I'm looking. And where I'm looking is here all the time. I know it probably appears that I'm up I'm looking here the whole time. And I definitely have to look there because I'm putting strokes down there. But most of what I'm doing, unless brush is, I'm going to say 100% of the time, unless my brush is touching. When it's touching, I'm looking here, but if I stop, I'm looking back over here. I'll go back and forth, but I'm just studying this and really trying my best to first attempt to make, I'm going to say they're kind of notes to myself. I mean, if I can put it down accurately, I would. And I'm not that good. But I try. I do try. But my goal is to really quick get the shape working, and as I always say, the effect of light starting to happen. And this will end up being down here more, and it'll make that pop more, right? Between the fingers. It's brighter. We know on that outside it's brighter. But in here, there's some gray mid-tone happening. I'm sure me not talking is welcoming to you guys. But when I make some of these shapes, I just hold my breath. Hold my breath a little bit. Hold my breath a smidge. A little dark, but that's okay. It's okay. We got. I see there's shadows, between a couple of fingers, which is cool. Again, you see, I'm still using this big brush, which is okay. This, I would say thumb. I've got this is drawn okay. I believe, and we'll just. I mean, these are a little far apart, I think, relative to where I've got it there. That's all right. That's okie dokie. And I'll do quite a bit of, not to draw attention to the ball, but there's, you see there's even numbers here. May put those in, I don't know. But once this starts, once it's like, okay, that's definitely a concrete ball, then that's when I'll stop. There's no use in going any further. I don't want to really, this is not about me. And this is probably a good thing, I think, for people, for us artists to ask ourselves is my goal with this to impress people on how awesome I can draw or paint a ball? Or is it to tell this story, right? And it's to, it's about Andrew, and it's about him, doing this. And I definitely want to be accurate, but I'm not probably going to take, maybe I will, take a little, and put those little dimples. I don't know, maybe I will. I might. And then when that dries, we're going to hit, even, and I'll just do it now just so you kind of see. really put some brights on that outside. Which right now that's mixing with that wet paint, but you kind of see the effect we're going for. So I still got this big brush. And while we got the big brush, what are we looking to do? Well, we're looking to finish out those shorts. Paint, water, paint, water. And you probably hear me scrubbing. I'm breaking up this this color that I had mixed, and trying to use it because it was laying there. So that, I guess that does come out, doesn't it? Something like that.